Hello, welcome to the Black Salt Mirror. I will be doing a tarot reading for you today. The first thing that came through though, while I was preparing, was pay attention to the intelligence. Like the gathering intelligence that you are gathering. And we've got a flyer already as I open the box. The Hermit. The wisdom on the mountaintop. You have been on this path before and you didn't find what you needed at that time. And so now you think you have to look somewhere else, and you don't. Because sometimes it's not a matter of finding the right place, it's being there at the appropriate time. It reminds me of one of the Lord of the Rings movies where there's the door into the caves and you can only see the inscription when the moon is shining on it. So you can be at the right place but not know what to do at that time. So there's something that they want you to come back to that you had thought was the right thing before and it just didn't work out, and they're saying no, it wasn't the right time. You were on the right path to get what you wanted. All right, we'll start. They want me to move to an oracle already. I've never done these decks together before. Sacred boundaries. And it came out in reverse. So the hand is on top and the tiger is diving underneath as opposed to jumping over like in a circus. This makes me think that, yeah, another tiger on the bottom, claim your power. We've been getting a lot of birds from this deck lately, so this is new with the cats. Although cats themselves do come out frequently. For a long time you had to perform for people, and it takes years to unlearn, particularly if you were taught that in childhood. And they wanted you to have the correct boundaries, because if you had found whatever it is you're looking for too soon in life, you would have let people in that were not meant for it. Now you've gotten to a point where you know who's toxic to you and you know who to keep out and who to keep secrets from and have an arm's length relationship with, so that now you can receive this information and the hand's coming down like it's being given to you as you dive under. The cat looks like it's diving into the water now instead of performing in a circus. And that's what you needed to have to get the thing that you're looking for, the wisdom on the mountaintop. And you're sitting there now. This is something that you are actively attempting to find or manifest or ask for. And you're saying, I know that I'm due this thing, and I thought I was supposed to have it, but now I'm certain that I'm ready and I don't know where to look. And they're saying, you always knew where to look. It was that you needed to be in the right heart space, because it was about diving down in to heal, so that the energy that you put out was compatible with what you were receiving. And that's how it works with energetic downloads, is you have to be on the it's not quite a vibration, it's more of an emittance, like a light shining out, so that it's actually a lot like enzymes. If you know about how they kind of come together and they fit together, and they have to be exactly oriented correctly to interact with each other. If they're not shaped in the same way, sometimes they won't even interact with each other at all. They have to be exactly properly oriented to come together and to meld into something new, or to make a chemical reaction and form different things. And that is what you are doing now. I always get weird things with my lips when I'm channeling these kinds of messages. I don't know if this means something, but it goes away once I point it out, so. Okay. There's a cloud over you, and you finally come to realize the page of inspiration is sitting here looking up at me, still in the box. However, the cloud isn't over her in the orientation it was facing me. It's almost like you have transcended. Oh, that is a cat. I was gonna say that tree thing looks like it's actually a cat. But the cat is wise. It's got the halo of the divine on it. And there's another cat right in front of her pelvis there. You see it? There is something with cats. If you've wanted to get a cat, they won't just make it an excellent companion, but they will also help you, because cats are the walkers through the world. Cats can cross. If you've ever seen like videos of them at night where they can see things that you can't see, cats have a particular historical, mythical tendency to travel between the liminal spaces. And they can help you as familiars do that. And they can give you wisdom and guidance and protection. And some of you are also looking for protection. And that's why cats have often been used as lookouts, as guardians, and made statues pointing outwards, is because they can watch for you while you divine any kind of magic, but specifically divination is what they want to come through now. Is you're trying to do some sort of scrying or candle work, and the cats can stay guard while you do that. And there might be two boys that are brothers or that grew up together that are looking for a home. It's always hard when they come into shelter or rescues as a pair, and it's heartbreaking to split them up. But that would be a good thing for you to look into, is older cats, bonded pairs, that kind of thing. Just trust. Again, upside down. There's something to be said. You are not coming up out of the ground and uprooting what was. You are coming down through the sky to something that was already uprooted. And you are bringing new, positive, life-giving energy and restoring things to the natural order where they can grow and flourish. A lot of times if plants are pulled out like this, they'll die. Even if you replant them, the shock of being uprooted is too much, particularly if they're small plants like this. I've had a lot of experience propagating, and you had to be really careful with the little ones. Let's see what we want. I don't even have to shuffle. There's just like the whatever's on top. Today, the messages are coming through strong, and the energy is strong right now. There's someone at my door. It was someone selling something. I was fully expecting it to be the church people coming by again, because they've opened the 5,000th church in this area. That was a message. Don't think that things that came before will come the same way again. Sometimes when things happen over and over and over and again in our lives, we come to expect them to be the same, or to play out the same way, or to have the same value. And we can get into a malaise that way. But that's not always the case. There's always a time for change. And sometimes that time can come after many years. But there's always that one time when it's different or new. The 10 of Emotions was sitting on top here. It's time now for you to join your tribe. These are some dancers down here. And their collective vibrations are what's forming this energetic flower up here. And this is representative of the collective that you are part of, whether you have found some of your soul family or not yet. You will all dance together to bring forth this new thing that you're meant to be here and work on. I know a lot of you, next card, 3 of Swords, a lot of you thought you had to do it alone, and it felt like a really big burden. And many of you don't like the spotlight, and you don't want to be seen. However, you'd be much more comfortable blending in to a herd. And they're saying, if that is what you're inclined to, then that is your destiny. You don't have to leave your comfort zone to manifest your destiny. That is a thing that's sold to you by people who want you to perform. But you aren't designed for someone else. You are designed the way that you're meant to be. And so the way that you are is what you're inclined to do. It's what you like doing. It's what you see yourself as. And that is the correct thing. Next on our oracle is focus on the big picture. You don't have to be predatory. You don't have to be the best, perform the most, have the highest output. You are not a capitalistic machine. The crown is worn by the bee, which is part of a colony. They all work together. No one has to hold the weight of the whole on their backs. They're all in it. I saw this when bees build, the ones that build honeycomb. There was one that somebody had posted online that they built into a wall, and because it was very warm in there, the bees had built it in such a way that it ventilated, so that the air would come in and flow in such a way that it would keep the colony cool and the air wouldn't be hot and stagnant. And somehow they knew how to do that. And nobody knows the name of the builder bee who masterminded that, or if it was even one of them who's like really good with math and stuff, who's like, I know what we're gonna do. Y'all, I got this plan here. No, they just built it together. The bees, the colony, built it together. And that's what you get to be. And I think that you are much more inclined to that than to be someone standing on a pedestal trying to juggle it all. This is the Two of Pentacles. You are not drawn to that personally. Some people are, and maybe you used to be, because death came before that. But in cracking yourself open here and coming out in your new form, you are much more drawn to peace. You don't want the conflict of your former life, and you want a community. You want to be able to accomplish enough that you're helpful, but you don't want it to consume you the way you were willing to have it done before. You don't want to be the sacrifice, and you don't have to be. Regardless of what you were told before, Spirit has no expectations for you. Another cat. The door is open. You are the key. There is something important. 22 is the kill or be killed degree in astrology. And that means that you have a very specific purpose and you are driven to it. That does not mean that it has to be hard. It doesn't mean that it has to be a struggle. It doesn't mean you have to sacrifice great things for it. In fact, they have been aligning you for a very long time to make it as easy as possible now that you've come to this place. It says, we're doing a lot of cards today. Evolve into your complexity. There's the third eye, and it's connected to your greater subconscious. Your spirit knows all of this already. It knows everything that you need to do. It knows everything that you're meant to be, and it knows what feels good. And that's what you have to return to, is that divine connection with your higher self, who knows the way to go and who isn't afraid. So this is an octopus, and what is their head here is actually called the foot. Biologically, it's the only like really solid part of them, and they've got all these tentacles. But that's something significant about the foot being the head and the third eye for some people. And there's something about dancing as well, whether that's for the same person or a different message. Ballerinas in particular, there's something about feet that relates to your divine knowledge. And I'm not gonna give examples of what that could be because I think it's different for everybody. But like, if it makes sense that somehow your purpose is connected to your feet, or somehow driven. I'll leave it there. Okay, one more for the road from the Inner Child Oracle. When your inner child is balanced, you should feel it within you. You should feel it in your chest like a butterfly, joyous. And the child is not immature, and it's not everything that you never had. It's simply the side of you that sees through rose-colored glasses. It sees the beauty in life, it sees the fun, it sees the excitement. Children are joyous naturally, and it's not until we mature and go through puberty and become teenagers and realize what's going on around us that we lose that. And in some cases, it's suppressed too early because of the responsibilities that are put onto you. But the child is still there within you. And they want you to lean into excitement and give yourself permission to be excited about things, to experience joy in that way, just for the sake of stupid things like cookies and cotton candy and farmers markets and getting to dress up, those kinds of things. Nothing is so small that it's insignificant. If it brings you joy, then it's meaningful. Flow with the rhythm. Get lost in the rhythm of movement today. It's another reference to dancing. There are things that you need to do for your inner child. And you shouldn't view your inner child as separate from yourself, as this thing, another outside force that you need to serve. It's yourself. It's your love of yourself. It's selfish, it's narcissistic in a way to be self-serving for your inner child and to do things for your inner child. And sometimes that's the hardest part, is to be deeply selfish in small, stupid ways. But that it's normal for a child to experience because their life is wide open and they don't have responsibilities and they're exploring the world and they're happy about seeing their friends in new seasons and going out and finding acorns. I'm saying picking acorns. You don't pick acorns, but things like that. It's not, don't view yourself as an adult with a higher mind, because if you have the ideology that there's something apart from yourself that likes these silly little things, then you have contempt for part of yourself, because your inner child is you. It's not something else. It's not someone else that you can separate yourself from. You need to love it truly, not just indulge and then feel bad and think, oh, that was silly of me, because that reflection is lessening parts of you, and it's a form of self-violence. They want you to fully embrace that it is okay to cry, that it is okay to get excited and joyous about something small and nostalgic like ice cream. I'm seeing green like mint on a cone, waffle cone. Mint's my favorite. And to just, there is a reason that you have the things in nostalgia that you have. It's not just that everyone has a particular bird that reminds them of their childhood and whose song they can pick out. That is significant to you. It's meaningful to you, and it's not in any way bad and should not be derided for the fact that you have something special. That special word hits really hard. You're allowed to have things that are special to you. It's not dumb. It's not insignificant. It's not something that you should make excuses for. It's beautiful. It's love. And the right kind of people will share that with you and make time for you and go find your favorite bird with you. And they want you to lean into that and to accept that your child within you, the child you were, is still you. It's not something that you grew out of. It's not something that you've moved away from. It's not an entity that resides within you, but is fully a part. It is you still. And they want me to make really sure that I got that across to you. And it's not going to come easily. It's not going to come immediately. A lot of this advice, I've seen people get frustrated once they try something once, or once they think they have an ideology. There's a lot of science behind what stress does to you and what regression does to you. I've heard many different places that if you had a certain dynamic with an abusive parent, that being around that parent can often regress you entirely into behaving like the child that they raised you to be. Even when the rest of your life you've healed and you can behave the way that you choose to be as an adult. Stress in the body is the same way. I had a physical therapist tell me one time. They said your body has the way that it handles stress and the way that it puts undue pressure on certain parts of itself during stress. And no matter how much time we spend teaching it how to balance itself and how to act symmetrically, where it's not putting too much pressure on your stress point, when you become stressed out, it will revert back to its old programming. It's a neural pathway, and that's why you have to keep at it. That's why you have to be conscious of it and continue going back to whatever it is that you do to heal your body and to keep yourself strong. Because it's not, okay, I've fixed it, I don't have to worry about it anymore. You're a living thing that has to constantly be redirected back to balance. And that's natural, and that's how the order of things works in nature, and that's how they works within you. You're a biological being. Stress will cause you to regress. And that doesn't mean that your healing wasn't effective. It doesn't mean that you didn't come as far as you thought you did. It's the way stress works. It's a balance. Initially, the stress is too much and you're way unbalanced. And then you do all of this work to get it rebalanced. And the stress is still pulling you down. But the more you can affect this balance, the less effect the stress has on you, and the more easily it is for you to bring it back into symmetry more quickly, with less energy, with less thought. And that's what you're driving towards, is the ability to quickly and seamlessly rebalance after the stress has gone away or you've removed yourself. A lot of the alleviation of stress is knowing when to remove yourself from a situation so that the stressor is gone and you can rebalance. And that's not something wrong. It's not a cheat. It is the way that you manage to do what your equilibrium needs. There's no cheating. There's only what's effective and healthy for you. Last card is you're almost there. We got our fox and the Four of Cups. You're thinking a bit too much about this. You're worrying too much about this. You're thinking, I am not as far as I need to be. There are two more cards, of course. They want you to look at this from another perspective. You have already succeeded. You have been crowned. What's down here? Binoculars. You just need to look really closely at all the things that you've accomplished. Because Spirit isn't saying, oh, you did all that work, but like you're still not exactly where we want you to be right now. So like it was nothing. No, that's not how Spirit rolls. They see all of the different things that you have surpassed, all of the tests and all of the lessons that they have thrown at you, that you have surmounted. And they think that's amazing. You are exactly where they wanted you to be. And you would not have had these tests and these lessons and this calling if you weren't crowned for it. And you are. And if you see yourself like that, if you love yourself like that, and if you view yourself as flawed but beautiful, I always think of the best stories and how they come from people who have been through some stuff, and how the most interesting people have some really terrible things to say about what happened to them, or the things that they had to go through, or who they were at one point in time that they didn't like and are ashamed of. And if you see yourself as sovereign in that way, as interesting in that way, as grown and complex in that way, you don't want to be a plant in a pot sitting on a table. You want to be a garden, a jungle. You want there to be depth and interest and life within you. And they want you to see that in yourself, because you've come to that place and you are that thing. And your inner child is that thing too. And all of the things that you are ashamed of and the ways that you think people will dislike you is what makes you fascinating and beautiful and unique and you. Pull yourself close. There's you and your inner child. Every part of your being is deserving of love. And there's your garden, and there's you walking in it, arm in arm with your inner child. And you're whole, and you are enough, and you are loved and beautiful. I love you, and I'll see you very soon.